Okay, so these are going. This is the New York State 2013 release questions. Like if you read what I wrote, they didn't release everything, so they released some questions. God knows why they want to hide the rest, but hey, that's not up to me. Well, let's get to this. First question. Let me pick a color here. Yeah, this should be okay. So evaluate 6 to the third power plus 7 times 4, so order of operations. Okay, and we're going to do 6 to the third power, which is 6 times 6 times 6, and 36 times 6. I'll just do it on the side. 36 times 6 goes 3. 6 times 8 is 18. 216. So now we have 216 plus 7 times 4. Okay. After exponents, you do multiplication or division, and we have one multiplication, so we'll take care of that. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 216. And you'll see that the only answer, the only multiple choice answer that is remotely around the 200s, and 216 plus 228, plus 28, sorry, it's going to give you B. Okay. The beauty about multiple choice, if there's such a thing, is that there's always an answer. I'm sorry. Okay. So you can always start eliminating, but ones that make absolutely no sense. So let's see. Which pair of expressions should have been R equivalent? Whoever wrote that should have written R equivalent. So let's see. 4 times 6x. If you multiply these two, 4 times 6x is 24x. And 24x and 10x, although they share the same variable, are definitely not the same quantity. Second one, B, 4 times 6x is again 24x. And look at that, 24x is the same as 24x over here. So B is the correct answer, so let's just make sure. C, 4x plus 6x is 10x, which is not the same thing as 10x squared. Remember, although they're both x's, one is an x squared and this one is just a simple x. Okay, remember combining like terms. And 4x plus 6x, again, is 10x. And there's no way that equals to 24x. Okay, so the only correct choice was B. Lower this again. The length of a rectangular parking lot at the airport. So, you know what? It's always nice if you draw it. It's a rectangular, sorry, rectangular. I don't know why it's crooked. At the airport, the length is 2/3 of a mile, so this is 2/3 the length, and the area is 1/3. So we don't know the width. Okay, but I know that area of a rectangle is length times width. Right? So I do know what the area is. They said that the area is half a square mile. So, and we know that length is 2/3. But we don't know the width. So here we're looking for a number times the width that will give you a half. Okay, this one's a little bit tricky, to be honest with you. It's a little bit tricky. So one way to do it, if you get stuck, is to substitute 1/3 over here. So take the 1/3 and substitute. Put it instead of the W. Substitute and see if you get a half. Obviously you don't. Okay? Hang on a second. Computer's heating up. 1 second. Alright, so one way of doing this is to substitute. So you get, let's see, 1/2. Oh, much better. 1/2 equals 2/3. And let's take the letter A. Letter A says 1/3. Well, is that true? Is 1/2 the same thing as 2/3 times 1/3? Well, if you multiply these two, you get 2. If you multiply 3 and 3 at the bottom, you get 9. 1/2 is definitely not the same as 2/9. Do that again. 1/2 equals 2/3. And instead of W here, we're going to try this one, which is 3/4. See if that's true. It's 1/2, the same thing as 2/3 multiplied by 3/4. And let's see, on the top we get 2 times 3, which is 6, and 3 times 4, which is 12. Is 1/2 and 6/12 the same thing? Yes, it is, because 6/12 can be simplified to 1/2. Okay, so the correct answer is B. Okay, let's lower this a little bit. What is the area of the trapezoid? We haven't done this, and we're going to be doing this week. But if you do know how to do it, Let's see if you got the correct answer. So it's an isosceles triangle. Okay, an isosceles triangle is trapezoid, I'm sorry, that this side right here, and then I draw lines, it's also the same as this triangle. Okay, so these two are the same. We want to find the area. So one way of doing this is to break it up into 3 parts. Okay, and we're going to take this first triangle over here. Area of a triangle is calculated by base multiplied by height divided by 2. The base of this right here, okay, this section right here, it's let's see, this is 4.5, that's 4.5, and you're left with 4.5, which is 2.25. Get a calculator here. All right, no calculators because I couldn't find one. So base, the base here. Okay, if this is 4.5 right here, this section right here is 4.5. That means that up here too, from here to here is 4.5. So you're left with 4.5. That's going to be divided into 2 parts. This section here, section 1, and this section here, section 2, and they're both going to be equal. So 4.5 divided by 2 is going to be 2.25. So base of this triangle is 2.25. The height is 6, so you go multiply by 6. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry the 3, 12, 15. Carry the 1, 12, 13. 2 decimal places. But the area of this triangle right here is 13.5. And guess what? This other triangle has the same value, 13.5. Area of a rectangle, which is this area in the middle. Well, the base here is 4.5 and the height is 6, so the area of the rectangle would be 4.5 times 6. 6 times 5 is 30, goes 3, 24, 27. 1 decimal place. So you get 27. So now you got to add 27, which is the area of this rectangle in the middle, plus 13.5 and 13.5. 13.5 and 13.5. And that gives you 5 and 5 is 0, carry the 1, 7, 10, 14, carry the 1 again, 2, 3, 4, 5. Total area of 54 centimeters squares. Do we have one that says 54? Yes, we do. Correct answer, letter D. Okay. And again, don't worry about it. If you didn't know how to do this or you couldn't figure it out, we'll do this week. Okay, that's what we're doing this week. Next one, the table below shows the number of tea bags needed to make different amounts of iced tea. Okay, so with 8 tea bags, you make 2. With 16, you make 4. 24. So there is a relationship, and I'm hoping that everybody knows that the relationship is divided by 4, divided by 4, and divided by 4. To find our missing number, obviously, you're also going to divide by 4. So our answer is going to be 6. 6 quarts, and correct answer is B. Okay, let's see if I can maybe shut a few programs to make this complete a little faster. Alright, a printer makes 3 copies of a book every hour. Which graph represents the number of books made in 4 hours? So 3 copies of a book. So let's see, in 1 hour, 3 copies, so 3 books in 1 hour. And in 4 hours, how many books would it be? Well, here's your relationship, times 4. So times 4 will give you 12 books. So in 4 hours, you can make at least 12 books, for sure 12 books. So, and I have one that says 12. Yes, let's see. There we go. Alright, so in 4 hours, it makes 12 books. So the only one that has an equality, so number of books that you're going to make, okay, it's definitely going to be greater than 12. The only answer that matches is this one. Okay. What is solution to the equation below? Okay, so what is the solution to the equation below? Here you have an equation. You can solve it like we did it in class by doing the inverse operation. Let's move this a little bit. Okay, right there. And let's see. So 4 times w, it's multiplication, so we're going to do the inverse, which is divided by 4. Jeez. Okay. That sound is the computer heating up. So let me just try to erase this. Alright, let's try again. So you're going to divide that by 4. I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I'm just going to write here. Try to represent. Okay. Divide by 4. Notice I'm having a lot of problem writing. So divide by 4 on both sides, and let me make that line here. These 4 are going to cross out. Okay, because 4 divided by 4 is 1, and you end up having just w. Let me just write that on this side. And on the other side, you're going to have 2/3 divided by 4. So take that, because you don't have any room to do it, and do 2/3 divided by 4. Remember your division rules? You're going to multiply by the reciprocal, so let's put the 4 over 1 to begin with. And 2 over 3, opposite of, we're going to change the division to multiplication. And we're going to flip this around, making it at 1/4. On top, 2 times 1 is 2. At the bottom, 3 times 4 is 12. And you get 2/12. Okay, correct answer is A. Which number best represents the location of point E on the line below? So, let's see. It has to be a negative, so because it's between -1 and -2. So it's divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're talking about fifth. -1. This should be -1.2 because we're going by 2's. -1.4. -1.6. -1.8, and then it's 2. So letter E is definitely B. Which pair of expressions below is equivalent? Again, combining like terms. Let's see what we get here. So on letter A, we have an x and an x. So we're adding this. So we get 2x and the y's. Y plus y is 2y's. And let's see. On this side, we have to distribute property. 2 times x is 2x. Plus 2 times y is 2y. Guess what? They are equivalent. Okay. Just to show you, let's pick one that's not. Let's take the second one. So the correct answer is A. Letter B, 5 times 2x is 10x minus 5 times 3y is 15y. And you can definitely tell that 10x and minus 15y is not the same as 10x and 3y. Okay. Over here, let's do D over here, 9x plus 2y. You cannot add these two. They're different. The variables are different. So whoever wrote this is completely incorrect, so that way this is out, this is out. And even B, 4x minus 4y is not the same as 5y minus 4x. Remember, in subtraction, we'll just make an example here. 5 minus 3 is not the same as 3 minus 5, so you can't switch it around. Okay, so that's also incorrect. This one's a little tricky. The coordinates of point A are 6 and -4. The coordinates of point B are 3 and 4, which represents the distance in units. So they used what do you call absolute value here. So let's try to graph this. -6 is somewhere over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. -6, and we're taking the elevator 4 up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is your point A, sort of. Point B is 3 and 4. So it's 1, 2, 3. 3 to the right and 4 up. We're trying to gauge the distance between A and B. Let's see how they used absolute value for this. Now, think about your distance. So we're measuring the distance from here to here. And this line in the middle, our y-axis. So imagine a number line, and that would be our 0. So from here, and he's at -6, to walk all the way just to here to the y-axis, okay, it would be the absolute value of -6, because this number is -6 spaces away from 0, plus the distance, this number is away from 0, which is your y-axis. So again, absolute value of -6 is 6 spaces, so A is 6 spaces away from the y-axis, and B It's 3 spaces away from the y-axis, giving you a total of 9. So they're 9 spaces away from each other. Okay, it's the only one that makes sense. Okay. B. If you did B, the absolute value of 3 is 3, minus the absolute value of 6 is -6 is 6, and now you're dealing with subtraction of integers, and that is not a 6th grade topic. But that right away should have been. You can exclude that. Next to absolute value of 6, which is the distance from A to here, but absolute value of -4, we don't know why you're taking the absolute value of -4. Nobody's at -4. Nobody's at 4 steps away from 0. A is 6 steps away from 0, and B is 3 steps away from 0. So just by looking that they use the wrong numbers, C and D are out. Which expression represents the phrase below? Okay, let's do this. Okay, again, remember what I said, just do it 1 under each other. 8 means 8. Less than means subtraction. Product means multiplication, and you're multiplying 2 things. Let's see who you're multiplying, and I don't like that, so let me take that. And product's multiplication, who are we multiplying? 6 and the number x. Well, we're multiplying 6 times a number that we don't know, and we'll call it x. Okay, so that's the literal translation. But remember, because the word is less than, we have to make a little switcheroo here. So these two guys, so the minus signs will stay the same. The 8's going to go all the way to the back, and the 6x goes to the front. Is there anything that looks like that? Yes, there is. B. Okay, point G is the point 3 and -1. So, problem with this particular problem was that they didn't locate point G on the coordinate plane. So go ahead and do that. 3 and -1 should be around, not should be around, but it's 3, -1, which is right here. I don't know why they do that. They think it makes the problem harder because they didn't label point G for us. Well, 3, -1, so there's G, and we're asked to find what point is 5 units away from G. Well, which of these 5 points is 5 units away from G? Is it D, C, B, or A? Well, all you gotta do is count. So let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So D is not it. That's only 4 units away. C is way too far, so it's not it. Right. And let's look at A. So from G to A, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and definitely not A. And from G to B, you take 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps. The only one that's 5 units away from point G is the letter B. Okay. And the answer is B. Okay. In the diagram of a quadrilateral below, the variables represent the length of the sides in inches. Okay. Which expressions, write an expression using the variables B and C that could be used to find the perimeter. First of all, you need to know what perimeter is. Perimeter is the distance around a particular shape. So in this particular shape, we don't have the numbers. We have letters representing numbers. So to find a perimeter, what would you do? You would do B, which is here. You would add that side plus this side, which is C. And then you would add this other side here, and this side is called B minus 2, so let's add B minus 2. Okay, that's what that side is. And then plus the last side, which is C minus B. That would be your expression. Now, if you had a chance and had time, I would have gone one step further and combined like terms. Well, can I combine B with anybody? Yes, I can. Was it B in the back here? When I put a circle, was this B? Remember, it's minus B. Okay, so it's B minus B, and guess what's going to happen to those two? It's going to become 0. They're just going to eliminate each other. Okay, C, definitely. And you're going to look at the sign before it, add. So you're going to be C plus C. And C plus C is going to be 2 C's. Oops. I forgot there's another B here. So, going back here, apologize. Here's a B. Okay, you're going to have, battery's low. Okay, you're going to have a B here, plus this B, and then you're going to subtract the last B in the corner. So, B plus B is 2B minus B. You end up with just a single B again. And then finally we have this guy over here, and that combines with no one. So my expression at the end of the day would have been B plus the 2 C's here minus 2. Okay, that would have been my expression. But if you wrote this one, I don't think they said anything to simplify or to combine. I still would have accepted, although definitely the better answer would have been this one. Okay? So B plus 2C minus 2. And I am going to use this one. It's a little shorter, much easier. Now, look at the next question. It says, substitute B is 11, C equals 16. Well, definitely much easier to use this expression than the long one that we have when you're substituting. So B is 11, so let's switch. 11 plus 2 times C, C is 16, minus 2. Now you got to do order of operations. There are no parentheses, there are no exponents, but there is a multiplication. So let's leave everything alone. 11 plus, and 2 times 16 is 32, minus 2. And then, no more multiplication, there's no division as well. It's addition or subtraction. You don't get a choice. You do the one that first comes up as you're reading from left to right. So you do 11 plus 32, which gives you 43. And then you're going to have to subtract the 2. Final answer, 41. So the area, the perimeter of this is 41, whatever units. Okay. Is there more? Yes, there is. Alright, so sort of the same question. Area. A rectangle. So write what the area is. Area equals length times width. What are you given? You're given that the area is 3 over 5. The length is 7 over 8. And the width is what we're trying to find. Okay, so now this becomes tricky. Now, remember what we did in class. Okay, we're going to do inverse operation, but this is going to be a little bit different. Okay, and we'll definitely go over this type of question later on. So, as the test nears, inverse operation tells us that, well, first of all, this is a multiplication equation. We're going to do the inverse. Let me just change colors here. And we're going to do, so if you split that in the middle like we did in class, we're going to divide let's see if I can find an easier way of explaining this to you guys. Give me a second. Yikes, because you got choices here. Alright, let me just pause and think about this. Let's see if I can explain it this way. Alright, so I'm going to change the numbers around. I'm going to tell you that the area, length times width. I'm going to give you an example with different numbers to see if you can maybe understand it. So let's say if I told you the area of a particular rectangle is 10, and I told you that the length was 2, and we needed to find the width. What would you do to find the width? Well, you're looking for a number that multiplied by 2 to give you 10, right? Or by using inverse operation, you're going to find that 10 divided by a number divided by 2 equals 5 to find the value of the width here. Okay, so and 10 divided by 2 here is definitely 5. So to find W, using inverse operation, you divide 10 and 2 and you get 5. Now, this side would be the same thing. Okay, I'll definitely go over these problems, this problem again in class. You would have to divide 3/5, which is your length. Same thing you did here. You divided 10 divided by 2 to get 5. You're going to take 3/5 and you're going to divide it by 7/8. It's the same principle. Again, multiply by the reciprocal. You got 3/5 times 8/7. And you're going to get 24/35. Okay, so you get W equals 24/35. And if you didn't get it, it's okay. We'll do quite a few of these. And I guess the last one. Cars use 12 gallons of gas to travel 456 miles. How many miles did car drive per gallon? This is a unit rate. Okay, 456 miles. And he took it 12 gallons. And we want to know how many miles it should go per gallon. Unit rate, divide top and bottom by 12. I take this and divide it by 12. Let's do this on the side. 456 divided by 12. 12 going to 45 3 times, which is 36. You get an answer here of 9. Bring the 6 down. 12 goes to 96 8 times. And it divides nicely. So, final answer. She drove 38 miles per gallon. Okay, that's your review. It is 1:49. Your test scores should be up within the hour or so, and this should be on YouTube or the class website within the hour as well. Okay.